Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking to Jay Free to see what he's got going on, and I know he's been doing some liver and gallbladder flushes. We're going to get into that, as well as how much water you should be drinking in general and while on your fast. All right, guys, so it's been a while since we've had John on the show. He's been busy. He's got a whole bunch of stuff going on in his life, new things, changes. I mean, I don't know if he's trying to talk about any of that stuff, or maybe we could do some exclusive content on a Patreon channel. I don't know. I mean, it's just a little more incentive to go and check it out. John, what do you say? You think you would do some exclusive content for them on a Patreon, tell them what's going on?
Man, I'd be willing to maybe think about it. You know, we'll see. You gotta find out. Gotta get on there and look.
Gotta get on there.
Look.
All right.
Gotta unlock the levels.
Yeah. Unlock the reward tier, and then you'll see if we did some exclusive content or not. All right. So I finally got John to start doing the liver and gallbladder flush. Him and Steve. All right. It took a while.
I was busy, man. I was doing other stuff.
And so we're going to talk about some of his experiences so far. What are you on your third? How many flushes have you done? 3?
I just finished my third one.
Okay. So first of all, I'm curious, have you read the entire book yet, or just you're still going through it?
No, I haven't read the entire book yet. Then I got another book. So I got like 2 other books. Yeah,
it's a lot of reading, man.
It's a lot of books.
I got books I haven't read yet either. So
yeah.
What were your first impressions of the book, of the author, and the information?
I mean, it was right in line with what we've been learning.
Right.
So I was like, okay, like he knows a lot of what he's saying is really good, and I'm reading it, and just what we say about medical industry and all these pills and pharmaceutical drugs and stuff. So I was just like, so reading it, I was like, okay, and I'm learning new stuff too. So
right.
I'm like, okay, this is really good. So my first impression, just on the information, it was, it was cool. It was just another facet of this health thing.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I felt the exact same way. I felt like, because when you get so deep into this and you feel like you've learned so much, it's such a breath of fresh air when someone comes in and introduces all this new information that's solid, and it also coincides with what you've been learning.
Yeah.
So that got me really excited about the flushes. So you got all the materials you needed to do. You did your first flush. What was your first flush like? And what did you experience after your flush? Okay,
so I'm going to kind of combine these together because, man, I wonder. Okay, so I did my first flush, and if you all don't know, I am a U.S. Army combat veteran, partially disabled U.S. Army combat veteran, and I mean, all that's not important. It's the Army part that's really important. But I did my first flush, and I was disappointed, honestly, because I see a lot of people in the group have started their flushes and stuff, and it's always, oh, I did my first flush, and they're taking pictures and all these stones coming out, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's kind of gross, but also it's really, really intriguing to see it. And it's cool to see all this stuff come out of your body, because obviously it's not the rocks sitting in your body, so it's not good. But my first flush was just like, the book. When you read the book, he says that you'll have little stones come out about the size of a pea, but there may be a lot of them or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going through the process, and I see a few stones come out, but there's just a few, like 4 stones. I'm just like, that's it. So just throughout the day, you're passing these stones. I'm only passing like 2 or 3 at a time, and I'm just like, there should be more than that, because I know even your first flush, maybe it wasn't like as many as during your second or third one or whatever, but you say, hey, I passed something like that. That was a successful flush.
Oh yeah.
That was a successful flush. For me, it was just like, did I pass? Okay, I see one.
Right.
Oh, there's another one. So I was kind of like, what's going on? So I did my second one, and it was kind of the same thing. I was just like, okay, what's going on? So like I said, I just finished my third one 2 or 3 days ago, and I did something different. In the book it mentions having, they have some steps you can take if the flush doesn't turn out the way that it's supposed to, or doesn't happen the way that you want. And it says to take some lemon juices, some fresh squeezed lemon juice, no sweetener or anything. Just take raw lemon juice and have that in the morning time. I said, okay, cool. So I did that every day. But my flush was more or less the same as the last two, except for this time the stones. I noticed the stones were a little bit bigger. They were, if I had pea-sized stones the first time, they were about double the size, maybe double and a half that size. But it was about the same amount. So like stones were a little bit bigger. I was like, okay, but there wasn't that many. And so for me, that's been kind of discouraging. And I know, I'd say most people that have these successful flushes, they probably had maybe you had vaccines as a kid or whatever, and maybe you do certain things, but I'd say a lot of people haven't been in the military and have experienced the extra stuff that you had to do. I had to get, I have a scar here when I got my smallpox shot vaccination, and smallpox and all these other vaccines and shots that they gave me. And when I was in Afghanistan, I had to take malaria pills, which I took a couple times, and that made me pee a lot. And I almost peed on myself so many times. Because,
oh wow!
Yeah, it made it like impossible to control your bladder when you were sleeping. So I stopped taking that crap. But there's just the food. They're called MREs, which are portable packaged food that can sit for years. So just filled with preservatives, and you would eat one of these MREs, and it's a lot of food. But then when you go sit on the toilet, you only poop out like these little balls of feces. But it's just like there's no way that this is all.
Right.
I ate so much more than that, but that's all that came out. So I was in the military for 5 years. So the years of MREs and all this other stuff and flu vaccinations and crap that I had to get every year and all this other stuff, I know it's really, really hard on my body. The interesting thing is that I didn't drink a lot before I, did these flushes. I mean, I'm of age and I have drank before, but I've never been a really big drinker. And I know that drinking is really, one of those things that's kind of hard on your liver. So I was just like, man, I feel like I should be okay as far as the health of my liver compared to like the average person that maybe likes to indulge in that way. But for me, I struggled. And it's been, like I said, it's been kind of frustrating because after losing, the 100 pounds and trimming down and getting healthy and fixing the diabetes and high blood pressure and all these other things, I felt like this was the last piece to really get me to that optimum health. Mm-hmm. And I have been having a terribly hard time really getting there. And I know that I'm theorizing, but I know that it's from, it has to be from my service and all the stuff that I ate and got injected while I was in. Because another person that I know did a flush with me recently, and she's a veteran, and it was just like, yeah, I had some stones come out, kind of, but like nothing really noticeable. And I was just like, it's the same thing with me. And one of the things, and she's been on a health journey as well for the last year, and making all kinds of strides. Vegetarians or mostly vegan, I think, or mostly vegan, if not all the way vegan right now for the last year. And it's been similar. The similarity is that she's also a combat veteran. So it's just like, so it's not that we did it wrong, and she drank. I know she didn't do it wrong.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking that the commonality is our service and all the, injections and stuff that were put into our bodies during that time. So I want to stress that if you know somebody, or if you are a veteran and you haven't done the flush yet, there's still some things I'm going to be working on to ensure that I have a really good flush, because I'm going to be on my 4th one, in the next few weeks or so, and I'm going to be trying some different things. But making sure that you do everything that you can and you got to keep doing them, because that stuff has to come out of you.
Now, did you get a colonic done?
Yes, I did a colonic my first time I did my flush, and I did it like the day of my flush, so I was really, really fresh.
Okay.
The second one I just did an enema, and then my last one I did a colonic again. Now with the colonics, I've had a lot of success, because the first colonic, they say you should feel it like in your stomach. Really it's your intestines right here, not your stomach, but you should feel it in your belly. And I was like, I couldn't feel it.
Right.
I couldn't feel it up there, and I was just like, stuff was coming out, but I couldn't feel it up here. The last time I did it, I was just like, oh, I could actually feel it now.
That's dope.
In this, yeah. So, it makes me, I know that I'm making progress, but I also know that I'm still very clogged up from all those years of eating MREs and being, clogged up. So,
that's insane.
Yeah, and shouts out to Brenda. She's in the group now. I go see her to do the colonics and stuff. But you definitely have to do that, and maybe even a couple a month, maybe 2 a month, and get that stuff out of you, because that's gonna help you be more regular and actually make your regularity smooth, and also aid in passing stones. So so it's a process.
One of my very good friends had a similar problem with his flushes. He's not military, but he ate a similar diet, just all of the ramen and all of the processed foods, all the boxed macaroni and cheese. Like growing up, I would watch him eat, and I'm like, yo, this dude, like everything's out of a box, everything is fake cheese, and it's just terrible. So I think that there is definitely a correlation with what you've consumed in the past, and obviously, the success of the flushes. Now, I haven't spoken to him recently. I can't remember what flush he's on, but I know that recently, I want to say around his 4th flush, it was the first time that he had what we would consider a successful flush. So it took him a while. He did the colonics. You guys got to take it seriously. And that's the reason why I tell you to get the book, because it has the other information, like he's mentioning, there's protocols for, particular situations. And he was very good about sticking with it, and being consistent, and don't give up and don't be discouraged. A lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm not getting the same results as everyone else. Well, you're not everyone else. You're an individual, and all we could talk about is what typically happens, what's common, but there's so many experiences that are going to be exclusive. So don't assume that just because something's not happening the way it happens for what you can perceive to be everyone else, it means that you're doing something wrong. Your body is different from everyone else's.
Right.
The key is consistency. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. And I usually tell people, when I tell them about the flushes, be prepared for it to be at least a 6-month process, at the very least. And that's probably somebody who's already really, really healthy, like beyond what people consider health. Because there's a lot of things we consider healthy. People are healthy, blah, 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 and they still die at 55, 60 years old. You know what I mean? So real health, true health is much deeper. And unless that person was on that path already, chances are this is going to be a 6-month process at least. I'm still flushing, and I still have the size of the stones has changed, the texture. The things change, but the stones are still coming out.
Right.
And I will actually be doing an update video on my liver and gallbladder flush probably around the beginning of June or so, because I'm going to be transitioning into some new therapies They're going to be very, very exciting. It's definitely something I've been planning it for months now. I'm not going to even give you guys any information. Just know that there's some new therapies I'm going to be combining, and it's going to be very, very interesting to follow. So anyway, I'll be updating you guys on that and what I've been experiencing, because I've been experiencing some very interesting things that's very important for you guys to know. Also, just to make sure that you take all of this very seriously. You know, in the book, he talks about the flush being like a surgery, having surgery on your liver. You know what I mean? And you need to take that seriously when you do these flushes. So, okay. So I would say that I'm glad that, I know it's discouraging or whatever, but I'm glad that you're continuing, in spite of the results, because sure, I mean, my friend, he had no stones come out.
Right, I remember.
Right? I mean, so at least you've always had a couple stones come out. He's had no stones come out.
Right.
So stay encouraged, keep doing it, and you're on your 4th one. This might be the ticket for you like it was for him. It might take you to your 6th one.
Right. I hope, hoping number 4, they say 3's the magic number. I was like, okay, number 3, like, I got it this time. I was just like, crap, it's still not. But hopefully, 4, because I'm going to be doing some stuff to kind of help and encourage the flow of everything.
Well, what's your diet been like since you started doing the flushes? Have you refined your diet at all, or? Yeah,
actually, I decided to kind of arbitrarily, I just like decide stuff and just do it. I stopped eating meat. I just decided, like, I'm just going to stop eating meat. Not that I ever ate a lot of it anyway, or in at least in the recent year and a half or so. But so I'm going to just stop that and adopted the vegetarian, mostly vegan diet. That's really the biggest thing. I eat like,
that's good.
A lot of peppers and fruits and mangoes and stuff. Get the red mango, and I just learned this. So you get a red mango, you just bite into it, rip the skin off, and then you got all that flesh, and you just bite into it like that. The most satisfying way to eat a mango. Matter of fact, probably gotta do not today, in another video. We'll do a mango eating demonstration.
Do you got some mango somewhere?
I just ate my last one yesterday.
I was about to say, shoot, we can demonstrate that right now.
We're good. Hopefully they nothing but 10 minutes away, but. So that's the main thing, really, is that, I cut out I just decided to go ahead and eat like a vegetarian, more vegan diet.
Which is that's another big part of it, right? Like, what's the point of doing these flushes and doing all these things if you're not going to take the strides and change your diet permanently? Like, it needs to be a lifestyle. Because all we're doing is we're flushing out all that crap, all the processed food, all the stuff. We're flushing it out just to put it right back in again. It's like that's like the worst thing. So that's why I mentioned it so many times. This is a journey. It's a journey. It takes time.
Yeah.
It took you well over a year to make the decision that now I'm gonna do meatless. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And same thing for me. I mean, I had decided that I was going to reduce my meat greatly for over a year. I think I did that. And then one day I was like, you know what? By the end of the year, I'm going to stop eating meat. And then when I said that, I said, wait a minute. I'm going to stop eating meat today. Because it's like, what do you mean by the end? What's the point? I'll stop eating meat today.
Yeah.
And part of it was getting used to, when you're out, what can you eat? You're not used to not having meat or having, I found out there's a lot of dishes where you could be like, oh, no meat in that. Like it's, there's a chicken pasta primo something, and you just say with no chicken, and they'll give you the pasta and the sauce with no chicken,
Right.
So there's a lot of options out there like that I found. I've become more of a fan of soup. There's other things out there that I never really considered as options that now I do consider.
Mushrooms? Who knew they were good?
I bit into a mushroom the other day, and I don't know where it came. I had a pack of mushrooms, like a medley, and I swear that thing was like meat. The texture of it was just like meat.
Right.
I actually thought maybe some meat somehow got into my pack of mushrooms. You know what I mean? So mushrooms are incredible for meat replacements, or just in general. Mushrooms are just incredible, and
it's just good.
They're good and they're enjoyable. They absorb. One thing about mushrooms I love is how well they absorb seasoning.
Yes.
It's so much easier to season a mushroom than meat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's benefits of cooking differently. So I want to go ahead shift gears a little bit, and there was another topic that has been coming up a lot recently. Now, we've talked about this many times in the past, but I think we have a lot of new members. There's maybe some misconceptions. So I wanted to talk about water, how much water we should be drinking in general, how much water we should be drinking on our fast. And then also on the other side of the coin is it possible to drink too much water? Is water intoxication real? Is that like a real thing? So, John, what are your thoughts about, how much water we should be drinking while fasting and just in general?
Well, while you're fasting, for one, you should be drinking distilled water. I just saw a post about that. If you can do distilled sun water, and if you can do structured distilled sun water, because that's like the ultimate. I mean, that's like really taking it up there. But I mean, that's like primo, best stuff you can get. But because the distilled water has that effect to pull out those inorganic compounds and stuff in your body, which helps the detox process along greatly. That's all I drink. I drink that exclusively, and I have been for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, if you're drinking my thing is, try to drink about a gallon a day if you can. If you can't, I mean, it's still fine. You don't have to. That's just it. I know it. Well, really, when we started, it was like, go ahead and do a gallon. But
we did a gallon religiously.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. But, some people are finding that, they like to do the dry thing because that's a little bit easier. And I mean, I can kind of say, yeah, I felt like going dry was easier, weirdly. Don't know why. I think it's because you don't crave food, but you actually crave water. It's a weird, the dichotomy, everything shifts. From this, it's like the need. What's that pyramid of needs? I forget what it is, but when you're fasting, you want food. When you're dry fasting, you want water. It's just I don't really think you really need to drink a whole bunch of water. Drink to your thirst because your body has a lot of water in it. I mean, even going dry for a while, doing some breatharianism is. I think it's a good thing to do because your body will help. You'll expunge some of that extra water that's just sitting in there that's not structured. So, if you're drinking 32 ounces or 64 ounces in a day, just in general, if you're not with a specific goal, I think that's fine.
Here's my thoughts on it. And my thoughts are similar and also differ in certain aspects. First of all, when you're fasting, if you're doing a water fast, drink a gallon of water.
Yeah. Also,
make sure that you are getting the best water possible. Why not? It's like, why half do something? If the only thing you're consuming is water, make sure it's the best water possible. I went out of my way. I bought a distiller. I went out of my way. I started getting the jugs so that I could sit them out in the sun. Yes, it's extra work, but it's worth it. You don't know what you're doing to your water. And if you don't know, you need to do the research to find out why it's important. And there's a lot of people who think, oh, water's water. No, they want you to think that water is water. Water is not water. There's different types of water. You have bulk water, you have structured water, you have energized water, you've got dead water, you have poisonous water, and your body consumes water through the skin, through the mouth, through your breath. It's just, there's so many things that we have to consider when it comes to water. Water is not simple and it's not negligible at all. You will notice a big difference in your appearance, your skin, your fasting, your detoxing. It will change based on the type of water you're drinking. So it's important, and that's what I have to say about that. Now, as far as outside of fasting, I still encourage you to drink a gallon of water a day. Here's why. Out of let's say you're drinking, a gallon of water, only 3%, I think it is, actually becomes structured and utilized by the body. The rest of it, you just pee it all out. So here's the problem. Whereas if you were getting structured, energized water, where your body doesn't have to do the extra work to actually utilize the water, you know what I mean? You're drinking a lot of water, but you're not getting what you need from it, right? So you have to drink more. Whereas if you're doing the work ahead of time, you're structuring it, you're doing what you need to do to the water, then you could get a lot out of the water with a lot less. So as a general rule of thumb, I know a lot of people aren't taking these extra steps with their water, and that's why I just encourage you guys to drink as close to a gallon as possible every day. Just get in the habit of it. And when you very first start, you're gonna be peeing a lot. It's gonna seem uncomfortable. Everybody goes through that. I know I did, but oddly enough, my body adjusted. I stopped peeing all the time. I actually got to the point where I wanted more water. You know what I mean? And stop drinking everything else. It makes it so much easier. It was like, if you're drinking, 12 ounces or 24 ounces of coffee every day, that's 24 ounces of water you could be drinking. You tell me you can't drink enough water, but you drink 24 ounces of coffee, you drink a liter of soda, you drink, 12 ounces of Red Bull. If you just convert all those liquids to water, you know what I'm saying? So I encourage you guys to obviously prepare your water properly. Check out the Sun Water video, prepare the water. You could drink less if you do that, and you'll notice you'll get similar effects from it. Or increase your water. Stop drinking all the other stuff. You know what I mean? It's important. Now, the other side of the conversation is it possible to drink too much water? Right? Now, I don't know if you've had any experience with this, but have you ever either experienced some type of water intoxication yourself, or have you known anybody to? And what are your thoughts about it?
Okay. This is so, shouldn't really be a discussion, but it's just like, if you drink too much alcohol, let's say you have a whole thing of vodka and you drink it all at one go, what do you think is going to happen? Alcohol
blood level, the alcohol blood level.
Well, yeah,
alcohol poisoning.
Oh, okay. You'll get alcohol poisoning because your body has to filter that stuff out, and it can't handle the load, and whatever, you probably die or whatever from drinking it all like in one sitting. If you drink like 2 gallons of water in 10 minutes, just like, your body can't handle, because it still has to process it. Water is super easy to process because it's natural and everything, but it still has to process it. There is still a process to it. And if you just overdo it in 10 minutes, then it's probably gonna have some negative effects. I mean, if you're training to be a Muay Thai fighter and you go out, when they start Muay Thai, they go out and there's a process to it. They start punching and kicking banana trees because they're really soft. If they go out punching and kicking oak trees from the beginning, their bones are gonna be broken. Their body's gonna be all bloodied up and messed up because they're going too hard, too fast. You can't do it that way. There has to be a progression. So like with anything, you can't do it all at once. That's the thing. So I mean, too much of anything, depending on the context, can be bad because there may be a process to whatever it is. You can't just go hard 100% with everything.
You can't just kick the oak tree.
You can't just go out there and kick an oak tree right now full force to see what happens. I mean, you'll probably shatter.
Your shin will be shattered.
Your tibia, your fibula, everything's gonna be jacked up. Now, if you go out and kick a baby banana tree full force, it'll probably still hurt, but you ain't gonna shatter it. You ain't gonna shatter your shins, your tibias and fibulas. You're not gonna just destroy it. So that's my thing. I think water intoxication, I don't know, it may be real like I say, if you drink 2 gallons of water in a 10-minute time span. That's a very short period of time. Right. If you drink 2 gallons of water in 24 hours, in a 24-hour period, like a whole day, no. Because I've had 2 gallons of water in a day. Yeah, I peed a lot, but I mean, I felt just as fine as I do right now. Right. You really can't drink too much of it. It's really the time span of when you have it really makes a difference.
Right. We have to be smart about this. Now, there's stories out there about water intoxication, people dying from, drinking too much water. And they tend to be on this side of the spectrum where he's talking about, it's a competition where you're supposed to drink 2 gallons of water in 5 minutes, or just to see who can drink it the fastest, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Well, your stomach is only so big.
Yeah.
Think about 2 gallons of water. Think about that, right? So of course there's all types of stress and strain. It's just like, use common sense. Now, with that being said, there's another side of it that I want to mention. I'm glad, John, because you brought it a different a viewpoint that I wasn't really thinking about. Mm-hmm. But here's my viewpoint on it. What type of water were they drinking when they got intoxicated, or when they died, or however you want to say it? You know what I mean? Was it tap water? Was it pure water or filtered water? Was it distilled water? Was it sun water? Definitely not. And this goes back to what I said earlier about all water is not created equal. It's not all the same. Water's not just water. So typically for these incidents, you're talking about going to the store, getting a bottle of water. It might have been spring water. It might have been purified water. 9 times out of 10, it's probably not distilled water, right? And what's the difference between distilled water and these other waters? Well, they have stuff in it. Yeah. They have stuff in it. And in addition to the fact that you're just drinking way too much water in a short period of time, make sure you're spanning, start in the morning. First thing, drink a gallon of water. And quickly, I just want to mention, guys, you ever wonder why you get thirsty when you're thirsty early in the morning? If you guys have ever gone outside during the wintertime, you're breathing, the dragon breath thing, you see the breath, it's like, oh, your breath, that's cool. Well, what is that? That's condensation. That's water. Water is being released from your mouth. It's just that because it's so cold outside, you can see the crystals, you can see the smoke, you can see it, it's visible, but that happens all the time. And at night, your breathing becomes more natural. You breathe even more water out. That's the reason why you're so thirsty in the morning. You're losing water. So first thing in the morning, drink that water. Hydrate throughout the day, right? Now, back to what I was saying about the intoxication. So you're drinking these different waters. They've got stones. Those minerals are rocks, okay? These minerals that they're talking about, they're rocks, microscopic. They're very, very tiny. You can't feel them, but they're in there, along with any other toxins and chemicals. A lot of these water companies, they just filter tap water. So there may be other things in it. They might put stuff in it. I know the smart water will tell you, hey, we add electrolytes for flavor. What? What are you flavoring water for? You know what I'm saying? Why is it necessary to flavor water? So we gotta pay attention. That's all. That's really all it is. And I don't really have too much more to say about it. We'll definitely be careful. Be careful with that, because I think wasn't there a video on Facebook where they showed a guy, how you get how you work in the office, they got the big 5-gallon jug of water, and they get it to the big strong guy, deliver it to the thing, and he puts it in the machine. He's like, oh, this is the best water because it's filtered and this company's got the fancy label on it and all this stuff. And they showed a video of a guy taking that big jug, turning on the tap, filling up that 5-gallon thing of water, putting the fancy seal over it, and using a blow dryer to heat seal it, and then boom, you've got fancy filtered office water that's good for you to drink. Right. No, they're literally just going to the tap and selling you tap water, and that's it. I want to say Dasani, somebody got sued for doing that.
I think it was Dasani.
Yeah, I know Dasani, they got sued for something, but somebody got sued for doing that. They were telling you it was spring water, but it was just filtered tap water.
From the Alps, from the French Alps or something, yeah.
So, we have to be smart, right? These companies, here's the thing about a company. If a company can, let's say they're going to deceive you, right? If their profit from the deception outweighs the litigation costs and the fees and the fines, they will deceive you. If it's more profitable to deceive you for 20 years, and then maybe they get caught and it costs them 30% of their profits. If it works out to where it's more profitable to deceive you, they will. Yeah. You have to keep that in mind, right? So on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Absolutely.
And make sure to check out Patreon, because we will be having an exclusive interview with John, and we'll be talking about some more sensitive or intimate topics, getting a little bit more in depth, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I mean, Patreon is a platform where I can talk about things outside of just strictly water fasting and eating properly. You know, we can get into the relationship stuff and, you know, job stuff and finance stuff. I mean, we could have a lot, you know what I mean? It's an outlet where I can get more intimate with you guys. So please feel free to check that out. Absolutely. Get exclusive content and things like that. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and we will see you guys next time.